So obviously the story has gone viral about Conor McGregor supposedly and then being at the boxing event last night, Deontay Wilder and the Anthony Joshua fight, not against each other, obviously. But he's sitting next to Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm going to show you that clip right now. And he seems to be kind of barking his ear off. And there are also a bunch of clips of Cristiano Ronaldo looking super annoyed. So I'm going to tell you a lot of stuff that happened because there's a lot more notable stuff going on than how Cristiano Ronaldo seems to be reacting to Conor McGregor. Okay, because I'll tell you exactly why he looks like that in those pictures and in the videos. And then I'll also tell you what Conor said last night that seems a lot more notable than whether or not he was doing yayo when he comes to a boxing event in Saudi Arabia that he took a private jet for. You know, cut the guy some slack, for God's sake. He's worth like, what, $300 million? And he's taking a private jet to go watch, a professional boxing match in Saudi Arabia, sit in the front row with Cristiano Ronaldo. If someone's like, hey, man, you want to do a bump? He's like, yes, I do. Although I think for Conor, a bump is probably like a bump, you know. Certainly seems that way. I mean, I'm no expert in picking it out. Like, I say that stuff, I'm like, look at it. As a matter of fact, let me show you what I said. I'll show you a text message I sent last night. I sent this last night. I watched that clip myself. I said, Conor's going to cause a global blow shortage after tonight. So obviously I think of myself as kind of good at recognizing it, but in reality, when I say things like that, I'm like, he's probably on yayo. I mean, I don't know for sure. I would say it's highly likely. I think a better way to both point a finger at Conor and then be honest about it would be like, hey, Jesse on Fire, let's say hypothetically that you had become as famous as Conor McGregor when you were in your mid-20s and then now you're worth $300 million and you have Conor's life. What's the likelihood that you would have taken some kind of stimulant when you went to this event? I'd have been like, 1,000%. Something between 500% and 1,000%. Like, you realize that anything over 100% is just a certainty. Yeah, I do. So call it 10,000%, call it 100%, call it whatever you want. Jesse on Fire, how is this relevant to the story? Well, it's relevant to how I manage my channel. I like to be able to point the dirty finger at people and make fun of them while simultaneously not making them angry at me. So you're going to call the guy cokehead and expect him not to be mad? Yeah, I am. Because I literally just said if I was him, I'd be doing the same thing. So what, that's just a get out of jail free card? Correct. It is. Yep. So I can just condone, basically just say whatever I want about it. And as soon as I go, no, but I would do the same thing. It's like, I don't know if you can get mad then. So say whatever things that you want about his behavior. So throw myself under the bus so I can throw him under the bus. And then at the same time, not have him get mad. So that's the strategy that we're implementing today. So anyway, the story itself, though, as it relates to the MMA community, is a lot more notable than Conor was on yayo, all right? And the Cristiano Ronaldo thing, because he said some things about the UFC and his current situation in the UFC and what he wants to do next in his career that are extremely notable, like really notable, like wants out of his UFC contract notable, which would certainly potentially lead you to some conclusions about what's actually going on behind the scenes and why he hasn't been fighting. And I will tell you exactly what that is because we have history to reference. What do you want for Christmas, Jesse on Fire? I just want everyone to like this video. They're not going to. Why not? I don't know. They just don't. You always say like the video and like 3% of people do it. That's true. That's kind of weird. I would do it for them. You do it every time? No, I don't. Even when I really love the channel. Stop crying. So you guys, you don't have to, but I'd like it a lot, and you can subscribe too. Love you guys. But nonetheless, let's get down like a clown, Charlie Brown. I want to show you this clip right out of the gate because I will tell you basically exactly what is happening here. And that way, we can talk more about the reality of whether Cristiano's mad and also the rest of the story.
I met you last time here. You don't stop keeping the name yet. You know he beat Brazil. I love money. Tell me.
All right. So, first of all, I am going to go ahead and just go out on a limb and say, yeah, he's on blow. After watching that clip a little closer, it's like, he seems pretty animated. He's on blow for sure. Okay. Like, I don't know. I know. He's on blow. But nonetheless, not that important. So, here's the reality of what's going on, though, between Conor and Cristiano Ronaldo. All right. Cristiano Ronaldo is not mad. Well, maybe he's mad that he's sitting next to Conor. But he looks the way he does in all of those memes because Conor is talking across him, okay? Have you ever been in that situation where you're at an event and this guy wants to talk to this guy or your wife wants to talk to this girl over here and they're talking across? Like, how come you're all, hey, why don't we switch seats? because it's super rude. It's super obnoxious. It sucks. You know, it's not a great situation. If you have something you want to say to this guy whoever, and listen, no offense to whoever this is, obviously, because I don't recognize them, but I would imagine if they're sitting next to Cristiano Ronaldo, dressed the way they are, they're probably a really big deal. Like a really big deal. Very powerful at that event. Because you think that they don't choose who sits next to Cristiano Ronaldo and Conor McGregor? Probably one of the most powerful people in that place. So Conor wants to talk to him, right? But he has to talk across Cristiano Ronaldo. They're talking about fights. What does Cristiano Ronaldo know about fights? He knows about being super famous, whatever, but, you know, if you're talking about boxing, pretty sure Conor, you know, that guy's probably involved in the promotion. God, I hope that that's not someone I should have known. I apologize profusely if I should have known who that is. Don't take it as any sign of other than I'm stupid, because I am. But anyway, so that is why Cristiano looks annoyed. He's being talked across like he's not there. Super rude. But nonetheless, now let's talk about the other stuff. Because what was Conor actually talking about? If you listen to that clip, he's talking about Manny Pacquiao. And then he's talking about him fighting Manny Pacquiao. Okay, so the really important stuff that Conor actually talked about in this whole thing was that he wants to fight Manny Pacquiao, and he is super annoyed that he hasn't fought. He is blaming the delays 100% on the UFC. At least he was last night when he was like, you know, maybe he's like, yeah, you know, we're working on it together under normal circumstances at home. He's like, yeah, you know, UFC, we are 100% aligned. We've never had any issues, you know. And Dana's on TV. He's like, listen, Conor doesn't ever have to come back, man. He can do whatever he wants. And you know what? Now that I'm connecting all of these dots, I'm thinking about what Dana said, and then I'm thinking about what Conor said last night when he was kind of, you know, a little more chatty than he probably normally would have been. I think I have this thing clocked. I got to be honest. I think I have this whole thing clocked now. And like I said, I'm going to tell you exactly what that is now. So Conor says he wants to fight Manny Pacquiao. Then he goes on a rant talking about the UFC delaying him coming back. It's supposed to be last April. It was supposed to be the summer. It's supposed to be this one. Now it's supposed to be this one. Like, they won't give me a fight. It's all them. They won't give me a fight. They won't give me a fight. Now, we know well, at least we think we know that that's exactly what was true in 2020 because of the lack of crowds and all of that stuff. The UFC wanted to wait until they weren't kind of scraping by to keep the lights on. They didn't want to waste a Conor McGregor fight. But now, if that's the case, and Dana is going up and just being like, Conor doesn't ever have to come back. He could do whatever he wants. I have been curious about that because it's like, where's the urgency with Dana to get Conor back? And I say that with 100% confidence in Dana's ability to navigate anything that gets thrown at him as a fight promoter. Now, I know Conor's value. And so I'm like, if it was me, would I be saying, if I was saying that publicly, why would I be saying that? And I really was coming up with, they can't get Conor to engage. There's no reason to create a bad relationship with Conor by saying anything publicly about it other than just, hey man, he doesn't have to fight. But now that I know Conor wants to fight and he wants to fight Manny Pacquiao and he's talking to the biggest global threat to the UFC's dominance in the fight business about a Manny Pacquiao fight, now I think I know what's going on, and I don't think it has as much to do with USADA or with anything else other than Conor's contract situation. Now, if you are a player in the game and you know something I don't know, email me. I mean, listen, I mean, I'm not saying that I have any information that I'm not sharing here because I don't about Conor's, you know, contract situation. What I'm saying is that if Conor has, let's say as an example, 2 fights left on his deal, the UFC is probably going to be extremely apprehensive to book him for his next fight without getting him to sign a new deal. Okay? We saw how they handled that with Francis because they let Francis do that. They let him fight Stipe with 2 fights on his deal. Then when he had 1 fight left on his deal, he had the UFC by the balls. And then he eventually, because he had a sunset clause, was able to get out of his contract. I don't think people can even start to understand the threat that what are you saying? I forgot. Just kidding. I don't think you can even start to understand the threat that Conor represents as a competitive force against the UFC if he is able to become an unrestricted free agent. That versus Francis or Nate Diaz is completely non-comparable. They're not even in the same conversation. The PFL is not even in the same conversation as if Conor McGregor is able to get out of his contract and then start doing things on his own, potentially starting his own promotion. This is not like a small threat. all right? When Khabib starts Eagle FC, he's still under contract with UFC. He's doing it with the blessing of UFC. He's not an unrestricted free agent. And even if he was, he didn't want to fight. If Conor is able to become an unrestricted free agent and launch some kind of new fight promotion, which in my opinion should be kickboxing in MMA gloves or pure boxing in MMA gloves, okay? Just take the bongo gloves off and start doing what MMA is without grappling, and you stick Conor's face on it. You can build all new stars. It'll explode. But nonetheless, I would be happy to... I'm happy to come work for any of these promotions on strategy, dude. I can't only say how many times that I am an untapped resource that has a lot of really good ideas and a lot of experience. I know what a cap table is. I know what restricted stock units are. I am a person that knows business. Nonetheless, consider that my plug. But nonetheless, Conor, if he's able to get out of his contract and he goes and fights Manny Pacquiao, how much money do you think he's going to make? How much money is Conor McGregor going to make if he fights Manny Pacquiao? Just as an example, Manny Pacquiao's 60, I mean, not really, but you know what I mean? That's just a Manny Pacquiao fight. Imagine if Conor McGregor promotes his own event and then fill in the blank with any opponent, fill in the blank with any rule set, fill in the blank with whatever. He will make so much money. So much money. It's hard to even wrap your brain around. Of course he wants out of his UFC contract now. Now he has a great relationship with Dana and the UFC, but Conor's a magnate now. Like Conor is a force on his own. You know what I mean? Like this is like he does not need the UFC anymore at all. If he wanted to promote a fight, do it with Jake Paul. He does do you have any idea how many pay-per-views that thing would sell against Jake Paul? Now, there was another fight, too, that I was thinking of where I was like, everyone would buy that. But I'm drawing a blank now. Anyway, but the bottom line is, per his rant, he tipped his hand. Unless he's just talking complete nonsense, just gacked out of his brain, which is not impossible. But if it were me, if I was in Conor's position, of course I want out of the UFC. Of course. Because the UFC has a machine that costs money. They have a business model that is so successful, so wildly positive for almost everyone in the UFC, all the fighters. I don't care what anyone says about, the fighter pay is unfair, yada, yada. Of course, dude, there's always going to be a push and pull between the organization or the league and the players, so on, so forth. By the way, have you guys looked at what NBA players are making now? It is utterly insane. Their salaries are out of control. I'm just going to say that right now. NBA players' salaries are out of control. It doesn't even make sense to me. I would challenge you, go look at any NBA team's payroll. You're going to be like, matter of fact, go look at the Golden State Warriors payroll and look at what they're paying people per year. It is absolutely mind-blowing. They're paying Steph Curry like almost $70 million a year. They're paying Klay Thompson, if I remember correctly, $44 million a year. They've got, when they signed, these top guys are making over $50 million a year. How is that possible? It's insane, dude. Although fighters, Conor could fight twice and make more than that. So, I would take his deal. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. Conor doesn't need the machine. Conor has transcended the machine. So, that's the situation. They're frenemies now. They're frenemies. Outside of business, Conor and Dana have never had any issue. I'm sure that they have more respect for each other than any two people could. And that's the other thing, as I have just from the outside observed Dana as a person with a lot of experience in business and then listening to the story. I listen to the stories no one else listens to. Like, those are the things that really register with me. Matt Mitrione tells a story about how he got out of his UFC contract, signed with Bellator, saw Dana in a club. He thought he has some beef with Dana because they had kind of a contentious negotiation. And so he sees him and he goes, gives him the finger across the thing. And Dana's like, what are you doing? And he calls him over. He's like, what are you doing, dude? You think me and you have a problem? He's like, what, we don't? And Dana's like, no, dude. You played a leverage position. You played a good leverage position. You got a good deal. Congratulations. Like, all of this stuff is business. There's real life and there's business. And the two things are, you can demonstrate that you are a dirtbag in real life based on how you do business. But driving a hard bargain with people and actually respecting people that beat you in business if they didn't do anything dirty, That's just strong business acumen. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, he played a strong hand there. Bottom line, took a risk, played a leverage position, so on and so forth. But Conor has tremendous incentive to get out of his UFC contract, and that is the big story from last night, much more than him and, talking Cristiano Ronaldo's ear off. So that's what I got. I love you guys. Me and Gabrielle are going live here in an hour for Christmas Eve, our Christmas Eve live stream. I think you guys are going to like it a lot. Anyway, subscribe to the channel. Love you guys. Bye.